Hello, hello, Gemini. So, got a solar eclipse in Aries coming up on April 8th, and that will be happening in your house of networking, long term goals, large organizations. So, I want to start this reading off by asking you who and what do you consider yourself to be in alignment with? What kind of causes, what kind of groups, political affiliations, religious, etc. You are getting a little bit of a wake up call and a spotlight on your network. And as a Gemini, I mean, it's a very positive, exciting placement for you. So consider perhaps what you want to build or cultivate. And, this is the house of, when I say long term or big goals, it's like these are the goals that require a group of people to make them happen, whether that be a team, an audience, or etc. One way or another, it's something that can't be done all on your own. It has to have buy in from other people, if we could put it that way, right? So, what is that in your life, Gemini? Keep that in the back of your mind as we get into your reading. So, as always, I'm going to pull a tarot spread to look at the story of your month, and then we will cap off your reading with a little wisdom from the stars from the Star Codes Astro Oracle deck. Now, let's get into it, Gemini. The month of April for Gemini Sun, Gemini Moon, Gemini Rising, and Dominant Folks. Thank you, Spirit, for helping us tune into the energy of Gemini in the month of April. We want to know the truth about what is showing up for Gemini and how is Gemini showing up in that dynamic, Spirit. As always, as ever, we want to know the truth for Gemini people's highest good in the month of April, Spirit. What is showing up? Helpful or hindering? Always want to know, Spirit, the truth of the climate, because that is always what helps us step into our best, brightest future. So thank you, Spirit, for bringing us clarity and insight for the highest good of Gemini people. Where are they now? And where are they headed, Spirit? Any information we need to know in the recent past as it pertains to the unfolding future? Any elements that you want to share with Gemini for their highest good? Perfect. Okay. I'm hearing, before I've even seen any of your cards, Gemini, to go easy on yourself. So some of you may be, Spirit is using the term like, go easy on yourself. I turn over your first card, Nine of Wands. Like, okay, yes, because some of you have been at something for a while and maybe experiencing some frustration. Hello, I turn over the Nine of Swords. Let's turn over these cards, right? Let's get into the story here. But Spirit is saying, go easy on yourself. You having a great idea or this bright future that they're talking about, we don't rush outside and yank plants out of the ground because we want them to grow faster, right? That doesn't make any sense. Things grow and develop in their own time. So you might be feeling a rush, an urge, and you may be under some type of pressure, maybe even like a case of a deadline, or at least just like a self-imposed, it feels like a deadline. And I want to share with you something that Spirit is saying. Please feel free for my fellow nerds to look this up if you would like to. I cannot cite the specific study/studies, but please trust this is well known and you can find it for yourself. When we look at giving a person a task, something like, hey, let's see how fast you can finish this puzzle. We're going to set a timer and see how fast you can finish it. And, when you're finished, you get a chocolate bar, right? That can have great results because it's like, oh, okay, I have a purpose. There's a timer here. Okay, I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to do this as well and as quickly as I can, right? Now, when we take the same scenario and we add, okay, so you're in room A and we're going to do the puzzle, do it as quick as you can, you get a chocolate bar at the end. But actually, there's also a set of people in room B and they will be working on the puzzle and we're going to see who does it faster. There's evidence to show that our mind stops working as well, as openly, as creatively when we start thinking about the competition, when we start thinking about what's going on next door, what are they doing, when we put our eyes on somebody else's paper and start comparing ourselves, right? Consciously or unconsciously. So, no meat peeping. Okay, let's keep going. You don't have to have all the answers, is part of the point. There's a journey, and that unfoldment is important. You don't want to skip steps. And eventually, when you arrive at the place of satisfaction, you may mourn, like, oh, you know what? I couldn't even enjoy this phase of my life or this phase of the development because I was so fucking worried and hung up on how it was going to go or what was going to happen. And Spirit is like, hey, we would like to give you this encouragement to enjoy the process right now. And I also want to say this, Gemini, is that if anything is a means to an end, then it's is not it, is what I want to say. So like, for example, if someone is like, hey, I need to go to the gym because I hate the way my body looks, and exercise becomes a means to an end, that is going to not be a very enjoyable experience. You know what I'm saying? But if the same person is like, well, I don't really like running on a treadmill, but I do enjoy a dance class or whatever, that can become an enjoyable experience and no longer is like a means to an end. You can get the end and you can also enjoy the means. You know what I'm talking about? So there's a lot of enjoy the journey. It's about to change. So it's like, let's enjoy this phase while we're here to the degree that that is possible. So, center of your spread, as I already revealed to you, 2 nines. And what are nines? Nines are, you're on the edge of something. Now, is it breakthrough or burnout? That is the question. And I want to say that is up to you, but not in the sense of putting pressure on you, but to say this is a lot to do with your perspective and your willingness to, as Spirit alluded to earlier, go easy on yourself. And Spirit is saying that the way that we judge other people has a lot to do with the way that we judge ourselves. So you may be feeling like, oh, I'm perfectly okay with myself, but find yourself judging other people and their work and their output and whatever. That's another clue that you have moved away from yourself and like moved out of the room where you're doing your puzzle and you're over in room B looking at how they're doing the puzzle, whether mentally or physically. And it means that you are not doing your thing with the precision and the focus and the pleasure that your thing deserves. Okay. And by your thing, I could even just mean your life. If you were like, I'm wishing I was somewhere else, I'm wishing I was doing something else, whatever, or I'm not going to be happy until then you are punishing yourself unnecessarily. You are closer than you might think. Like I said, breakthrough or burnout. 9 of Wands implies that you have gained a lot of skills, but also like you're kind of tired of having to wield those skills and waiting for, you know, when somebody says, okay, this is the finish line and you can be done. And Spirit is reminding you that for some of you, you get to be the person who decides when you get to give yourself a blue ribbon or a pat on the back or whatever. You know what I mean? And if you're like dangling a carrot in front of yourself and then also smacking yourself with the stick and saying, I'll love you when you get to the carrot, again, you are doing yourself a disservice. Enjoy where you are. It's going to be like this phase of overthinking it and being all tied up is going to come to an end. So why not go easier on yourself, knowing like, okay, this is about to shift and dissolve. Maybe I don't have to I don't have to worry so much. I don't have to clench so hard. 9 of Swords, a little bit of overthinking it. This is called the Nightmare card, and that is because our fears can seem so real and so overwhelming. And, you know, normally what we really need to do is go click the light on and look at things for what they are. And the Spirit is saying you can only go one step at a time. So don't leap. How am I going to do 20 steps, 30 steps, 400 steps in the future? This is part of why you're feeling all tied up and exhausted when you haven't even gotten to where you're trying to get yet. Like, let's come right back here. Let us be present with what is right here. Now, you have some beautiful cards, okay? This is why Spirit is encouraging you not to stress yourself out. And I said before we pulled the cards, go easy on yourself. Where you find yourself, strength. You do not have to fight. You do not have to aggress. You do not have to clench. In fact, we would love it if you would do the opposite. See how she has her hands right in this lion's mouth, but this lion is not going to do anything violent to her at all because he trusts her, she trusts him. They are moving in tandem. Their power together is infinite. Have compassion for yourself, take care of yourself, and then when you run into any opposition or any, enemy or any fight with someone else, you are going to find that you have more resources and that it is less easy to knock you off of your feet or, send your mind spinning because you're like, no, I know who I am. I know the choices that I've made, the right ones, the wrong ones. And like when I have made maybe a wrong choice or done something, whatever, I consult with myself about it. I see how I can make it right. And then I do that. Stay practical, stay present. Part of why I say that is crowning your reading. King of Pentacles. Major, major, major opportunity for breakthrough as opposed to burnout. King of Pentacles is the master of their resources. Nothing to do with sex and gender to be a king, more to do with how you show up in the world. The King of Pentacles demonstrates to everyone. Everyone can see what they have grown, cultivated, or built for themselves. And the King of Pentacles is, it's not about the number of resources, it's about the degree of their resourcefulness, and they know it. Meaning, you could come and take everything away from them today, and tomorrow they would be building the thing that will eventually be the orchard or, the corporation or whatever version of King of Pentacles this is. They will have their riches and resources back. So, trust whatever resources that you are hoping to cultivate and build. You've got multiple wonderful signs that this is possible for you. In the climate, the energy around and available, some self appreciation for what you've managed to cultivate thus far. And this is when Spirit is saying again, we're not talking about means to an end. We are not talking about, oh, I'll put the carrot again 400 steps in the future or even 10 steps in the future. If I am feeling exhausted and overwhelmed, and I am asking myself to keep pushing forward while I feel like this, these are the kinds of things that result in a tower moment, right? You don't have any towers in your reading. You'd love to see it. That is because you are going to recognize, okay? Let's say it together. We're going to recognize that that's not serving you, that pushing through your discomfort or pushing through your anxiety or etc., that it's like, okay, I've got to take a moment. I've got to take a breather. I've got to take a rest. I've got to whatever. I've got to do a little bit of self-care. I've got to release some of this pressure rather than continue on with the same amount of pressure and result in some type of tower moment where I do burn out or flip out. You know what I'm talking about? In the basement, in the hidden position, the world. Again, Spirit is like, please don't wait to give yourself appreciation for how far you've come. When we forget, it's important to look back. It is important to look back and think about where or how we were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. And it can be easy to like forget to appreciate all of the work that we've done to get wherever we are in life, whether that's like in terms of wisdom, in terms of finances, whatever. Stop and give yourself some appreciation. It would be, again, we're coming up on this eclipse. What are my big long term goals? And there is an opportunity to refresh what that is for you. So if you are feeling exhausted and overthought, please know that that refreshment, that new start, that clean slate is available for you. And you're not late. And you're not out of time. You're not off path. If you are off path, it just means you're in room B trying to look at how they're doing the puzzle instead of staying in room A and working on yours, regardless of the timing, regardless of the chocolate, trying to do your best and enjoy it as much as you can. Okay? That's your best bet, truly, because listen, we could all get hit by a train tomorrow. Okay? So to wait to enjoy tomorrow doesn't make a whole lot of fucking sense. Right? Let's enjoy this. We're here, King of Pentacles. Oh my God, I'm so abundant, and I'll say I'm broadcasting from the United States. So a little bit of perspective is A lot of us can get into the habit of like, oh, I have to go grocery shopping. This is a chore, whatever. And it's like, yo, you get to go to this clean, climate controlled, in absurdly abundant place where there's every kind of food, snack, drink, utensil, whatever that you could possibly want. Perspective, right? I get to do this. How can I enjoy the journey more? That's what they're talking about. Is it pop in the headphones? Whatever. Like, well, how do I enjoy the journey more? Let me do that and let me appreciate the whole thing. Where I've been, this moment, and that is like literally energetically going to make it easier to get where you're trying to go, as opposed to like kind of rooting yourself down in where you are, you know? So I see success, I see abundance, you are loved, you are supported, sitting in the past, Four of Wands, celebration, appreciation, family, commitment. This is also called the marriage card or engagement, etc. There is a loving foundation underneath you. And I think that there's like Nine of Wands means you're feeling a little exhausted. And so lean on those people that love you, because there are supporters and community there for you. And I mean, hello, eclipse in the 11th house. So if you don't feel like you have that community around you, this eclipse is definitely inviting you to open up a new avenue to connect with other people. And, you know, something that Spirit is saying right now as I say that is there are things like groups, whether online or in person, for like AA or, you know, overeaters or like narcissistic partner recovery, whatever, like whatever it is that maybe you are dealing with or going through. If you are lacking for people that you can connect to about it, 11th house, now's the time. The links are out here for you. Don't, well, do what you want. And I see some of you will perhaps take the opportunity to try to go it alone, to, as Spirit was saying, muscle through. This is sitting in the position representing like the potential outcome. So some Geminis listening to this reading are going to get in touch with their feelings, are going to do a lot of reflection, they're going to give themselves appreciation, and then it's going to feel like somebody let go of a slingshot and they end up a lot further forward than they expected, faster than they expected. And for others, and this is no blame, no shame, no judgment, some will reject this message, be like, what the fuck do you know? You don't know what I'm going through, etc., etc. I have to do this. I don't have any other options, etc. And for those who choose to keep muscling through, it's going to feel like this. But hey, even in this, there is a beautiful message, which is help is available. These people are walking right outside of a church, which, historical accuracy aside, symbolically speaking, the indication is there is help. They could take sanctuary out of the cold, but they're not looking at that. They are merely looking forward and continue to tromp through the snow. So don't do that. Help and love and support are available. Do not muscle through that shit. As a matter of fact, the key to getting revived, that's what Spirit is saying as I look at this, revived, revitalized, Ace of Wands, a resurgence of passion, excitement about what you're doing, inspiration to like, inspired action. This is what I want to do. Okay, I'm going to do it. The way to get there, Gemini, for those of you who feel like you might be lacking that feeling of inspiration or spark, or like, oh, this is my North Star. I know, like, not exactly what to do, because that's not the point, but I know which direction that I want to move in. And this is how I step forward in that direction, one step at a time. Today, this is how I can connect with my goal. Today, this is what I can do. You know what I'm talking about? The way to do that is to connect with your emotions. Queen of Cups, gentle reflection, tending to your inner world. King of Pentacles showed up as your crowning card, right? And your future shows up as the Queen of Cups. So appreciate how far you've come, the skills and resources that you've cultivated for yourself. Try to have that perspective of enjoyment, like with the grocery store, like with taking the shower, like with making the dinner at night. Wow, I get to do this, you know, doing the chores. Like I have a whole apartment I get to clean, our house or whatever, right? You know what I'm talking about? Spend some time being gentle and sweet with yourself. You may even benefit from, because you showed up as the King of Pentacles earlier in the spread, you may benefit from connecting with a Queen of Cups. Again, Queen, nothing to do with sex and gender, everything to do with the Queen of Cups really knows and tends to her inner world immaculately. She has great emotional clarity because she is always with herself. She never leaves herself. You know what I mean? This bitch works on her puzzle. She's like, I don't care if you get the chocolate. I don't care when the timer goes off. I'm in flow with the puzzle right now. Okay. My point is, there may be someone in the external world who can help you tend to your internal world. Therapist, counselor, friend, whatever. Who can help you, who, kind of the phrase that Spirit is using is like, who is it that you feel like really sees you and potentially like in a gentle way sees through you. So like through any obfuscations or fears or etc., and kind of can see the child in you. This person can help you get perspective that helps you feel more abundant and do that slingshot forward. Okay? Okay. You're closer than you think to a breakthrough. Just don't let yourself burn out and break down. Okay? Tend to you, and then you will have the energy to reach that breakthrough. Okay. Let's pull a couple cards from the Star Codes Astro Oracle deck. Get a little more insight, just some guidance from Spirit for Gemini as they navigate these dynamics. Bless you, Isis. Spirit, what do you want to share with Gemini for their highest good? What last bit of advice? Whoop. Well, that was easy. Would you like to add? Wow. So, first card up, the fourth house, home. And the fourth house is about your roots. It's about your support system. It's about, Spirit is using the phrase family systems. It's about where you came from. So, reflecting on where you've been and what you had to do to get here. This brings about ease, symbiosis. I say ease because the trine and sextiles in astrology are angles that facilitate new relationships. In the case of the sextile, hey, 11th house, and trine simply ease things, lubricate things, open things up. More things become possible as you reflect on where you've come from and, importantly, what makes you feel at home within yourself. There's a famous quote, and I do not want to misattribute or butcher it, so I'll paraphrase that: if I vanquish all of the enemies within, then no external enemy can get to me, right? So if someone close to me in my world makes me feel somehow abandoned or left behind or unlovable, someone breaks up with me, someone ends a friendship, whatever, if I believe that I'm not worthy of love and that happens to me in the external world, it's confirmation, right? And it's like, there, I knew it, I'm unlovable, blah, 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 blah. But if I love myself, if I forgive myself for my own shortcomings and someone can't forgive me for my shortcomings, then that is still painful and that still super sucks, but I am not also hurting myself here in the home. You know what I mean? Here in the home of myself. I'm not carrying the sword and putting it right here in myself. Like that's hard enough that I'm suffering from it externally. I'm not going to bring it home and like put it above my mantle and be like, yeah, that sucks. Right? I hope that makes sense, Gemini. Always hope it makes sense. Any of that rhyme for you? Where's that hitting? Anywhere? Let me know. Comments, questions. Appreciate y'all. If you ever want a personal reading, the way to do that is just south of this reading. And I truly hope that these messages give you insight, affirmation, inspiration all month long. And if I don't see you in the mid-month readings, then I hope I will see you next month, Gemini. Bye.